Everyone, welcome to the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee. We are here today on March 13th at 4 p.m. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Chairwoman Patty Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Shweta Bade.
Here.
Alderman Carl Franco.
Here.
Alderman Mike Seville.
Here.
Alderman Bill Donnell.
Here.
5 present.
Thank you. Our first order of business is approval of minutes, 24-0144, approval of the minutes for the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee held on February 28th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion from Alderman Franco, second by Alderwoman Bade. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. How many of us? Five to nothing. Second, next item is public comment. Clerk, do we have anyone here for public comment?
Yes, we do.
Could you please read the rules of public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the BZE committee for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the BZE committee shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with the members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment.
And can we have the name of the first person, please?
Pat Crave.
Ms. Crave, you want to come up to the podium, please? State your name.
Hi, I'm Pat Crave. I don't know if I signed up for the right item.
Pat, you
But I
have
do
3
wanna talk
minutes.
about-
You have 3 minutes, which your time starts right now.
What?
Talk about anything you want.
You have 3 minutes for your public
Oh,
comment.
yeah, I read that on the internet.
Yes, yeah. You go ahead and start now.
I don't have a whole lot to say. Anyway, I do want to talk about the Habitat for Humanity approval. I just signed up for the first thing. I wasn't sure what the easement part was. But I'm on Lindenwood Drive, which is the block behind or next to the Habitat, and then there's a row of houses across the street from me, and then our house. I have a 180-foot lot line on Lindenwood Drive, and the Habitat for Humanity's plan is to put a City of Aurora water line through my yard. Oh, yeah, I like the eyeballs, right? So I'm not getting any advantage to this. You know, I might get a fire hydrant, but I also have a tree that I don't want to die. And I'm wondering if the engineers could take a look at this again. I know they need a loop for the water line, so I don't know. I think it's going down the new street, and then they want to cross my street, Lindenwood, and come down on the west side of Lindenwood Drive. And that's in the plan. And so that's what I am here for, to talk about. And actually, I did talk to Carl twice when this whole thing got started. And he had said, oh, don't worry, that we won't do anything. Oh, sorry, Carl. We won't do anything that will upset the neighbors. And I think I'm probably the most upset because I have the biggest lot line and the tree, the stupid tree. And I know that it will get fixed afterwards. But if there's another solution, perhaps, my thought was perhaps the water line could go behind the new row of houses. I don't know how big the loop has to be, but I'm thinking it doesn't have to be in the township neighborhood, which is where I live. I think people have contacted the city about this. It could be Paul Zabel, Jim Seifert, Jason Owens, and Jeff Barrett. They should all know about my concern about the water line. So I think that's all I really have to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, thanks.
We have another public
Yes.
comment? Thank you.
Jason Owens.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Owens. I'm the Highway Commissioner for Aurora Township.
Mr. Owens, you
The
have 3
Lee
minutes to
Westaway
speak, starting
subdivision.
now.
Excuse me?
You have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you.
starting now.
The Lee Westaway subdivision is the development immediately to the west of the Habitat for Humanity proposed subdivision that is to go in. There are two issues that the existing neighborhood the lease subdivision have, which you just heard Ms. Crave talk about, the water main extension under Lindenwood Drive, and also a connection, a T connection at Garden, which would extend the new subdivision to the existing Garden Road. As the highway commissioner, it is my sole authority to allow that connection. It is within my statutory rights with my office. It's also to allow the access under Lindenwood Drive. The residents in the unincorporated area, which is Lee Westaway, have asked that that is not granted, that I do not grant that, which continues to be the case. So any plans that allow that you approve would not be able to be followed through with in terms of the water main and the connection at Garden. So I hope that that's been brought to your attention. I'll be here through the rest of the meeting if you get to a point where you have to ask questions about the township stance, or at least my stance on it. But again, statutorily, I have the sole authority to allow any access under Lindenwood and to a township road, which is Garden. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Any further speakers?
Oh, no, we do not have anyone else signed up to speak.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda. Item number 240159, an ordinance authorizing the execution of an easement agreement between the City of Aurora and the Fox Valley Habitat for Humanity for the properties located at 1900 Jericho Road and the southwest corner of Jericho Road and South Edgelawn Drive. Do we have anything from staff on this today?
Yeah, we do. And actually, the other two items, the final plat and
Wanna
plan, are both.
Let me just
if
read all three of them?
If you can, please.
Sure,
Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. Next item is 230338, a resolution approving the final plat for Habitat Green Freedom subdivision located at 1921 Jericho Road, and 230339, a resolution approving a final plan for Habitat Green Freedom subdivision located at 1921 Jericho Road for a one-family dwelling 1100 use.
Okay, thank you. It's good to see everyone again. My name is Stephen Browell. I'm a planner with City of Aurora Zoning Division. So yes, this is the final plat and plan for the Habitat for Humanity Green Freedom subdivision on Jericho Road. So really, you can see the sum of the proposal is this new residential one-family dwelling subdivision. It's going to have 17 residential lots, then 2 outlots. Members of the committee will remember that the preliminary plat and plan came through early 2023, I think January, February. So this final plat and plan is really just following through on that. So a little bit of background, the residential lots are all platted and planned to meet the minimum R1 zoning standards. There's no zoning changes proposed with this final plat and plan or with the preliminary. It's all to the R1 standards, bulk restrictions, setbacks, lot width, area. So I'll pull up the plan real quick. So you can see the plan there with the lots. You can see Garden Avenue runs through center of the subdivision, connecting Lindenwood Drive to the west and Jericho Road to the south. The right-of-way for this new road is 66 feet, which is the city's standard. And then let's see. And then you can also see there's landscaping and building elevations in your packet. So I think that's really it. I don't know if there are any questions for staff. We have a representative here from Suits Tavong from the engineering department is here as well, if there are any questions for any of us.
Alderman Franco.
All right, let's just address what just happened here. What are we talking about with this sewer line or water line that the township's not going to approve? And if they don't approve it there, how is this going to go forward? This is shocking to me. This is coming up now. So if somebody can explain that, it would be nice.
Sure. In terms of,
You need to come to the podium, please.
oh, I'm sorry.
and identify yourself as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Suits. I'm with New Engineering, New Development Coordinator. To your question in terms of the, how we lay out the water main and so on. Typically, water mains, well, the water main has to be looped, right? Water mains are usually installed within public right-of-way, okay, within public roads. So let's say worst-case scenario where, this water main cannot be installed within the right-of-way of Lindenwood Drive, right? Then there's options in terms of looping the water main within the subdivision itself along within the road. Okay, so it's not the prefer because in terms of water quality and I guess design, we will want to maximize the connection point. Okay, but there's options in terms of looping a water main internally within the subdivision.
So I guess my next question is, has there been, I mean, this is quite shocking to me that another entity comes in and tells us they're not going to do something. Did we have discussions with the township about this prior to today?
No, we had discussion in terms of the loop water main. We had discussion with the village of Montgomery. We also had a discussion with the fire district in terms of the water main. They suggest they have no objection to the location of the water main because they would want that in terms of fire protection. Okay, so yes, we did have discussion with the township, with the fire district, with the village of Montgomery about this design, I guess you could say. Okay.
All right, and the results of that discussion were?
They asked for additional hydrant, and so we accommodated that. We added additional hydrant for fire protection, but we basically located where we think was gonna minimize impact. Okay, if there's locations that that we need to figure out later on, I mean that's something that we will look at in final design. But in terms of the location, this is the what they would like to see. Okay.
If I could ask.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of questions.
Could you find a map, where we can see where the water main is supposed to be?
Sure.
And where this lady's property is?
Okay.
Yes, and also, I'd like to interject, I'd like for us to be a little more specific, because you're using words like optimum, we think, and we'll figure it out later.
Okay.
That's not going to happen today. We need to figure it out now.
Well, in terms of the locations.
Well, when we're told that, what you said is we have options. We have, I mean, what are we seeing? Are we seeing options up here? Or are we seeing what's going to be done? I don't know that, I didn't realize I was looking at options.
Okay. No, you're not looking at options. Basically, this is the final layout of the water main, okay? Which is, like I said, this has been discussed with the fire district and the village of Montgomery, okay?
And what about the township?
Yes, we did also talk to the township about the location of the water main, which is going to be within his right-of-way, okay? We did make him aware of that, so,
Yes, go ahead.
yeah. But, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Where exactly is the water, is this piping going, and where is the neighbor's property at the beginning?
Can I just add one thing that maybe Sue didn't mention? So besides those entities that we talk with, we also talk with the neighbors. One of the things the neighbors were concerned about, they did not want to be annexed or forcibly annexed on Lindenwood to the city of Aurora. And that's part of the boundary agreement between Aurora and Montgomery. So we put it in writing that the city of Aurora, even with running the water line along Lindenwood, we would not annex those properties. So they're getting the option in the future, they can tie into city water, right, if their wells ever went. Montgomery Fire District wants it for added protection with the hydrants, correct? So those things were all discussed in advance. So the location of the tree, I'm not really sure, but obviously that would be looked at when.
Yeah, I mean,
And maybe their engineer could also address it too, because Clay's been studying it for a long time too, so. Does that help answer that? Madam
Well,
Chairman?
that was I think that was my
Yeah.
answer.
Right.
Now I'm using the word think, which is not good. So those were the answers to my questions, but I believe Alderman Seville had, or excuse me, Alderman Donnell had a question that we haven't addressed yet.
You could use your pointer to show us
You want
where
to
this
do that?
water main is being proposed.
We have it on the final plan right here. Is that it?
Yeah, could you,
Could you see that, or do we need to go back to the aerial, Steve?
So
Can you see?
it's on the west side of Lindenwood Drive?
Yeah,
Correct.
can you see?
Well, can I, point of order, Lindenwood Drive and Lindenwood Avenue, which are we using today? Because I got a Lindenwood Avenue here, there's Lindenwood Drive up there. So when we talk about this, I'm looking for different places on my map, and I'm just want to make sure I got the right spot. Which is it, Drive or Avenue?
Well, on the final plat, it's Lindenwood Drive.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So it's on the west side of the street?
correct.
And where does it begin? Up north, and where does it end?
Where does it say
Looks like
apps
it's coming.
up there?
What it is, it goes from Jericho, runs through the proposed subdivision and loops back on the west side of Lindenwood Drive. Okay, that's the layout.
And when it goes on the west side, is it connecting to one of our city water mains?
Yes, it loops back and ties into the water main on Jericho Road.
And the neighbor that came and spoke, where does she live at?
I'm not sure which host, yeah,
what's your address?
yeah.
875, further down, that one,
And where is your tree?
the long one.
And where is your tree that you're concerned about?
I'm not supposed to be addressing personal.
It's at the front of the
She's not speaking anymore.
Yes, right up there, somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
It's right on the, close to the line.
yeah, I mean, from the aerial, it looks like the trees is, on her property, not within the right of way.
So it is not in the right of way,
You're
it's not?
proposing to put, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
can we just do one person at a time?
You're proposing to put the water main in the right of way?
correct. Yep, it will be running within the right of way.
Easements are required.
Correct. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that was
Yeah.
what I was looking for too.
Alderman Seville, do you have additional questions?
And then the area that the township highway commissioner that spoke earlier, he's saying that he won't allow us to cross. Could you show us what the concern is there?
Sure. Garden Avenue right now, I mean, it's unincorporated, so the township has jurisdiction over Garden Avenue and then Lindenwood Drive. Okay, that's his jurisdiction.
So
So-
he's saying that we're not be allowed to cross over Garden onto Lindenwood because of his stance that he's taken. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, correct?
And if I could follow up with that, with
Please
our
do.
legal department, could you verify what was said earlier? Type of,
Sure, Patrick Collins with the Law
Yes.
Department. This is being handled in the Law Department. It's the township's assessor's opinion that he has the sole authority to do what he's claiming he says he has.
Thanks for that
and
clarification.
what is our stance and the city of Aurora stance?
Is this out of our scope of what we're doing here?
At this juncture, yes, if Ed or Suits wanted to answer the proposal that's being handled in the Law Department now at this time.
So we don't have a stance?
So I guess the question is, if we move this forward, where are we? And is this something you can discuss with us at this particular time and point? And is this the right time for this to be in front of us? Should this have been taken care of before it came in front of us?
No, I think this can
Three
proceed.
questions, I'm sorry.
Yes, I think this can proceed today. There are answers to the questions, and the Suits or Ed, stop me if I'm going too far or getting wrong. When Suits was mentioning there are other options, that the water main has to loop. Where it loops can change. And that's where the system is at now. It's set up to go down the west side of Linden Avenue and then loop through Garden Grove and Garden Road and then come back down, connect back to Jericho. And that's the proposal of the plan today.
Alderman Franco.
So I just want to tie all this together. City wants to put it on the west side of Lindenwood Drive. The fire district says that's a good idea.
Correct, yes.
Who else was on board with that?
The village,
Right, and
Montgomery.
that, but the township is not. I mean, according to what he said. So I guess, again, now that I have that clear, I'm just trying to figure out what entities are for it and why and the whole thing. So if you can explain what he said, why he would not be for it. That's
Well,
kind of
yeah,
important to know
sure.
why 3 entities are for it and 1 is against it, and why would that be?
Well, my understanding is that I don't think, Jason has an objection. Or Mr. Owen doesn't have objection to the water main, okay? It's the road connection is where the objection is, okay? So the water main it's my understanding he's okay with that also, because it does benefit the resident of unincorporated Kane County, whereby, just like Ed said, if they ever need to connect to it, if their well goes dry and so on, there's water main there.
Sure.
Okay, so it makes sense to run a water main within Lindenwood.
So the road connection, what would be the angst with the road connection? What would be the negative effect on anybody in the area with the road connection, I guess is what the question would be, because I think that's kind of what we're getting to.
Right. I mean, we did get comments from them. My understanding is they're concerned about traffic, people not stopping, people not yielding, right? They're worried about cut-through traffic, okay? The traffic that's coming from Green Freedom into the existing subdivision, okay? So those were the some of the comments that I'm aware of.
And if we didn't approve that road connection, what would happen?
Well, we still have an access to the site, okay? It'd be nice to get a secondary access, but, the subdivision may need to be, be phased or, modified to accommodate or to meet fire protections.
All right, so we've done this before with a lot of other subdivisions. Have we done a traffic study?
Yes, traffic, yes.
And what did that tell us?
In terms of traffic, there's the amount of car that's generated from the subdivision is minimal. I think there's like 13 or 17 trips that's generated from this development, okay? And majority of the trips are within the subdivision, and they would go south, okay, through their subdivision and on Jericho Road, okay? They would not be going west.
Have we shared that study with the township?
Clay, have you provided that? Okay, no.
Okay, well, then I would suggest if their angst is that, with because we see this all the time about residents, they never want anything near them. But when you do a traffic study, and typically they're pretty spot on, if we shared that with them and they could take a look at that, maybe that would take some of this off, because what you're talking about is fairly minimal. I mean, obviously, there's going to be traffic there, but 17 homes. So if they were aware of that study, maybe that would loosen things up. I'm just trying to figure out why there might have been a communication breakdown, but whenever there's angst with something, we say, well, we did a study, here's the results, now what do you think? And I don't know that we apparently haven't got to that point.
And Alderman Franco, I'd take that a step further. I would suggest that perhaps you make that part of your presentation when you come to COW, because I think that would be helpful. The traffic study portion of it would be, so that we know that you've looked at it, so that we
Sure.
know the impact on the residents. It would be good to hear.
Sure, well,
Alderman Donnell.
I think the title of this item is an easement. And I was out at the site today, looked at it. I actually had a chat with Ken. I understand Suits was headed back from Springfield. I appreciate you being here today. Could you maybe explain, because I've also had some conversation with folks, and how this project drained was what I heard the most about. So
Sure.
you could explain how this works and how this easement is going to function.
okay. Yeah, the offsite easement or the resolution to approve the agreement for the maintenance, right now, there's an existing drain tile that drains or that's located in the Green Freedom subdivision. It comes under Jericho Road, and it keeps going south, right? This agreement basically outline, or I guess spells out, who is responsible for this drain tile that's there now. Okay, so we work with the property owner or the offsite property owner to to agree to this easement and allow Habitat to use this drain tile for their stormwater management. Okay, and so it spells out in terms of who is responsible. Right now, the Habitat for Humanity is responsible for the maintenance of, or future maintenance of that drain tile. Okay, so that's.
If you could put up the last page of the agreement, easement agreement, it has a little diagram which helps me understand.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now the easement, I mean, I guess the exhibit shows approximately where the drain tile is, okay? And as part of the development is that they would have to replace a portion of the drain tile that's off-site, okay? So this easement or maintenance agreement spells out who will maintain this drain tile in the future, okay? So it gives the developer or the HOA the rights to go in and maintain that drain tile. Okay.
So if I could just continue.
Sure.
So in my discussions, and I was out on the site for groundbreaking, there were some discussions at that day. This was the concern, but it appears that you maybe have found a solution. Is there any objection to this solution for draining the property?
No. Nope. Yeah, the two of the property owners, work with Habitat to come to an agreement in terms of the location and in terms of the maintenance responsibility. And so that's the reason for the agreement.
I'd be happy to demonstrate the solution.
Are you the petitioner?
Yes,
Would we like the petitioner to present to us?
Sure. Do you want to?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
If you want to step up to the mic and introduce yourself, you're welcome to.
Absolutely. My name is Terry Jeffries. I'm the Director of Operations for Fox Valley Habitat for Humanity. Steve, if you want to go back to the aerial, I can show them real quick. There was originally 3 property owners that this easement concerned. Come to find out after our due diligence, Fox Valley Park District, there was only 10 feet of this drain tile that went into Fox Valley Park District property. So it really wasn't an issue for them. No, the one of Greenfield.
Terry, you have to stay at the mic.
Well, I can't show them then, if I have to stay at the mic. I wanted to show them where this is going. If you could go back to the aerial of, thank you. No, the color aerial that you had up right before that one. There you go. That's it. So it's really pretty simple. There's drainage that comes out of the subdivision, and it comes across Jericho Road into this big vacant spot right here. This is all the Aurora University complex. So it comes out, it comes under Jericho Road, and right now it comes into the corner and it kind of goes diagonally across this piece of property, which affected 3 different owners, okay? Fox Valley Park District has removed themselves from the conversation because they didn't want to talk about it over 10 feet worth of drain tile. Okay, they're great. So then this diagonal actually came across 2 owners' pieces of property. One is a private resident, which had no issue, signed the easement agreement right away. The second is actually a corporation who bought this piece of property in hopes that they could build a warehouse. Well, if we went in and we actually repaired this drain tile, which we assured them we would do, they would still have problems building a warehouse later on because basically the drain tile would still run underneath where they wanted to build a warehouse. So we said, okay, since we have to dig it up anyway, we'll go ahead and run it along the edge of your property and over so that in the future, if you ever wanted to build a warehouse, you would have no issue doing that. They were thrilled. They agreed. The issue in terms of the stormwater drainage has been put to bed.
Anyone have any other questions?
Oh, thank you so much.
Alderman,
Move for approval.
second?
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Donnell, a second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
And this is for the first item. I apologize, for the first item only. Any opposed? First item moves forward, 5-0. Second item, 230338. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Could we have some
Yes.
discussion on this?
Sure.
So this is the approving the final plat? We're approving the final plat on this one? Which has the water main on the west side of Lindenwood.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I just, if Mr. Alexandru, our attorney, want to advise us, I know we have a dispute here, but, I mean, we need to move forward as well, and hopefully we're ready.
I would not categorize it as a dispute. Obviously, the township has spoken their piece. That's their right to give that public comment and the opinion to staff, but I think as we've talked about, we have other options and other opportunities here. So from our vantage point, we don't see a reason to hold this up and not continue it through. As we continue to work through the issues, we'll certainly give the township the traffic study on the other item about the access to the road. But as Alderman Franco correctly said, we've done this frequently over the years where we've gone into similar situations, and sometimes we've worked it out and everybody cooperates. Other times there's issues we have to maneuver, but staff, I think, has done a good job of giving us some options. And at the end of the day, if we have to go to a plan B, we'll go to a plan B. But I don't see a reason to hold this up.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second? Oh, did you second? Excuse me, I'm sorry. A second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward, 5-0. The next item, 23-0339. I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Franco, second. By Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We have no need for a closed session.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, this BZ&E is adjourned. Thank you. Motion by Alderman Franco to adjourn. We have a second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we are adjourned.